Lôi chia ra lỡ. Okay, maybe your core ba play again. Ku buku jala twing bang.
Okay.
Yeah. What college work ko ben loy ki video loy ki share. Walk one tunya jang manyok ko be jam. Kakapor, especially farm the initial the African United Farm. Thank you. Dùng là cái jam thôi. Chả lo đó.
No, có gì đấy?
No. Có ya cái chế bên cái đi chú cái về dal. But I'll share it now. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Welcome, brother Tunya Jamanyok. Welcome to DB Empowering. In Chukubelor, Bugbe yo after a long time. We quite die with Chukalor. Back die show the Kumantio. Kuyala bak share agaman bak torch bak share when friends gonna go koi ben show can achieve a bear be around 1 hour there because we know nang ka lo uk ke ya bi wo ka latin could be short ya go kala ping. So kenen ge to. So welcome in year in kwaret in chol tunya jang manyok ku in ba chol constant DC ku jolai jaba goran gi tun agriculture. So I don't know what name and bani which of the names and bani na chol I have no idea but about jumping along. Ki jamo man kole we ko dai neng ran we chien ping man ke tunya jak aneng initiative the initial the United African Farm to panichol Melbourne in Victoria. Taban alwel ki chol farm ko kiben ko nim including me edom on jala ba ko pana ko purdum dum tindin to lwako. I don't know whether your farm ye just dum wala ne nga jui ko ka bu joba ping nong tunya jak lakin ki twen in chukulor ko we say we believe in koi jam on our platform so we believe in you so before we start ke yimbu lor wonang video da na wo program da ko we introduced will ko and that we believe in you so you know walk a few seconds ku bi jalo straight to our talk. Ayen in chuk belor again we ko we chuk lech time dun chagam kuyen lo ki share bo ko big ben we know that to lo ku tene chira bu gweret wo ngi kayo ko gwer ko ngi ke chu lo tin lakin we ko ben we chuk lech wo bi jam talk de in twitch so you can talk tong in flexible bin jam ba ka mix kayen ba lo tong tok ka be ya lo lakin am ya ti tong jeng go koy kwon kok dai kon bu yen ping to jeng big ping more kenen ke to yen yimbera le walk briefly into I know you and maybe koy kok ka chin dil ngi so boro le walk in just 1-2 minutes so bu jala ka kon ko farming ke the United African Farm so welcome.
Ayen binding challenge kujala the viewers. Era jam dengan ke chol tu nya jak jang menyanga janga ye. En mo konchok. Rampala ye. That's part in introduction level well at the moment. Taban chetting level nong many names. Taban the name Constant DC abo sometime back in Kakuma work koi ke Central Drama Team. So nara ngi chen Kakuma ngi we were in ke chol Kakuma Central Drama Team. Taban my stage name in Kai Constant DC. So it became my name actually. So a lot of ngadi even my profile on Facebook I agoria. Na be ben rin ke tunya agriculture to na be ben wan tio ali unter be wo be jam tin ba den until few years ago ke rin ke tunya agriculture ke liu ran lu ko coin to na tong wa cha be goren lekine because a chiting to kaya ke lo initiatives ya ke lo agriculture so ka go gwalwel kana tunye ga ya tunya agriculture so a ben one in a different context ko yo chike ko won ye ko le yo chana ran cha ko yo le iran agriculture circuit but on the other side I feel like tini and uh ngadia waji tak kujala the way people see things are waji tini ko so teran da ila tin chike mocking kind of luiran der mok le ka chin ngadi the kid in a call you think that can him get in Lake Twington. I studied agriculture, yes, in Kalo in the university. Just went for 5 years. So can crop protections. So in terms of plant diseases and plant pests and all of that, in Kekinukwen. So how to protect them. And that's my major. So I went for 5 years. So na ko ko one or to jama ka ka yu le ran chi ko ne kana dictor but I don't want
Yeah.
to the title because can na ran cha kon ti ku le yung ko crop protection ka ri chol dictor golo kuna witch doctor yung ra chol witch doctor yung na ran chi ko ne diseases ke human yera
uh,
chol kuna ran chi ko ne diseases ke plan chi le ya doctor so can there's that controversy but a chele balatin a chi an chi le title chi ken ke dia a chala balom so generally can ko agriculture ko and around crop protection so that is my major when you read for South Sudan before I came to this country ko wabijala tinale about this initiative you will go and walk ko talk with and what is the current situations at the moment ko inja late bande
Hey, and appear that so far one coach I moved from 10 to 12. We hope coach I will a little bigger law on top maybe the lane jam already. So we call that way to nya jam yoga chak ping chi agriculture chi queen ku chi lui in South Sudan. And I think Kabuga Luel Lala Biko Kalom reference to debut or thin because it in a core. I understand when Ranji Yokulil or agriculture budget. The word of budget is it sound empty, but if na agriculture budget then go watch the book we are live today, hit agriculture in a budget. So I'm not condemning the term, but I can't because I understood agriculture is not a budget. It is actually what we have. Cattle can work. I'm more of agriculture made. That's why we survive. We can even grow oxygen in our way. So we grow things. Can I get to? Now the United African Farm really and Gujarat Kodai will be very much interested in why the African United Farm. Why not Tunya Jangmanyok? Or Bugwachak Nyangalwal in or a Dubar, why the African United Farm?
Inja legend in by the Tawana, a good question. Even Wana Kolana Yoka, some of the foundational funders, Kukajati the same questions. Why African farm? Before Bewaja Bentinimba can go back to the history of the African farm. Tabaraja Lewin and Agriculture Chapwin. When I arrived to this country, that was 2015. The first 3 days of my arrival, come on, look in my first 3 days until a burning warehouse, and I got some plants, Chan Bakachom, upon WA. A passion, a yaloi, Quran Benachicha, Kieloi. So there's something whenever you sit, you feel like you want to do something, you want to contribute. With the way I do contribute to the society through farming getting. So one thing. Now, but here in Melbourne, kaya nanti first and put on my backyard 2018. And then photos I share daman gala name. I think many people were following. I share my backyard kena kan cuma baso kuchom koga achake chom my backyard. Kujala lui volunteer, na la lui volunteer kan chilo la you can ting West African the chom mama queer. She also have the same idea that why can we meet Kauai African? Because every culture, when kila balera na bera na dir, Quran culture kwan chukuben, that there's no culture without agriculture. Agriculture can defining what culture that you belong to. Now, chamko pasta kayu look can Italian. That is their culture. War one go, so all our productions actually defines our culture. So there's no culture without agriculture. So na kwa wuni jam ya agriculture baje a jakaden. I love a real ka kwa wun chin a culture, kuka kwa wun chin. I think ang they still have to uh, they still have to get some more neurons and stuff of reaching the level that agriculture fell in backbone. So yin binding taban after meeting her ko go kunyi 1 year ku jo okay, how do we join the two initiatives? Nghe chi ben kede. So it's just like the meeting of the East and the West. She's from the West Africa, I am from the East. So Yungda become the united unity of the African. And that's where the term of the United African Farm came about. So how do we unite our forces? Kuwai African. Because what you've been in this country in Bendeng, taban ko ju ko iran ci ben bu reer madina ko ju ko mana a chin idea that that yilba farm liba own in this country yilba wen go kun yin ka war yin ang di ka taw dier ko yikin taw hodo alba ka mai that here in this country. Ilaba pur, ilaba nang other things. We were seeing it as a window because everywhere we have to contribute to the development of this city. Kubuku rumiet e kaun lorot in this country. So Tinenge and I are think through agriculture, alaba are opening a ways into employment, will be opening a ways into where when na Koran farm, kakalu go you easily kulere on the farm because Biden taban ku canang citizenship ku chalwele and man the Biden command the buy anang a lot of privileges. It's not just a paper, but you can a paper. Anang a lot of privileges. You can own a property. I think property is a yango, be a farm, be a anything. So kaka ato. So koi ko chan book a job from the city to be seeing another different life whereby of production of independencies. Kakaka ko be work and to do that we have to move as a one united force. So the United African Farm become a force of uniting the east and the west of the Africa. Kubuku band together kuburu meet on how best can we establish our roots in this country. Because in war one with the idea or kujati one ka ngai nyuwa the ngadi a domde or a yonde kule domdukin because that's the basis, that's the backbone of the economy. Can be thing be a sustaining pande a laden bubu. So in Katana, what you benjamin watch ni ma, what you ride your look agriculture, but who are warden in the next 1 hour, wall coals, wall woolworth, wall in other areas. We don't even know can you go watch are they organic? The big trying to cost in the work at the end at the long run. Do we have opportunity to produce our own crops? So another thing was is that to lay in manakoi okra pura Asians. I get you, okay, you poor, I wool with cohort. Now you get kilo, okay, $16. Okra level pura at your backyard. Kechol bang bamia, level pura at your backyard. Kechol kudra, level pura at your backyard. Now, non space kakala poor. Kudro mana chilebayo. Kela yomane kudra ye Asian, you get chum. But yes, it's the same family of kudra, but it's not actually the actual kudra you get jam. Because kudra Egyptian spinach. Yani ka yugo ngade ku or Jude Mello ku kadang anang a scientific name. So create ben like you can have a one family of a crop. Lakin the kadan one and you could chamba with the same test that we like. Actually, and you chain idea la money in the market. But you move a pancake because we cannot grow it. But you could grow it because watching a land or because watching a skill. So Keneka you try buku unpacked inside the United African Farm. So yenke kulaba lwelin ban. So it's a union of both the East and the West and to restore the culture. And actually the culture is agriculture. So there's no culture without agriculture. Thanks.
Simply, an example would be a walwala, isn't it?
Yes.
Walwala comes from, it's a tree sort of
Yes.
a thing.
Yeah.
And so if we talk about a walwala, then what comes to somebody's head is that it's tree.
Yes.
So that makes agriculture where in Rabban Tinbiga Walwala, I'll make it a culture. So it fit that definition. So let me just still talk a little bit about the United African Farm. So it's a union now of the Africans in Victoria. Can you tell me how many African countries are involved in this initiative?
That's a good question, in Bindeng. Uh, when we started, we had about 10 African countries, KTI involved. We have 5 from the east. We have 5 from the west. So one in Liberia, one in Togo, one in South African, one in Nigerian, KTI involved. Who on the other side, one in South Sudanese, one in Sudanese, one in Kenyan, one in Ethiopian, one in Somalis, KTI involved. So it's a general like actually 10 different African background I check by. And that was the first instant goal we're in. And at the moment now we are looking that it's going to incorporate a lot of people. One of other nationalities, Kiche African, one of Indians that are involved, one of the local Australians, and of which they have really done so much. Because in the second phase, Bewa Jamba, then at first on Galway, we got a land, and then we lost the land, we got the land again. And in this second land, actually now a lot of people are contributing. So including the local Australians, one on Italian, one on Koikok contributing into the establishment of this key African. So what I will talk about later on, what do we need to establish in the new area? How will it benefit the people? But according to your questions, Kochia involved at the moment are 10 African countries.
All right. So look, anang ran cigar pinya ba nyodi na le kicigor. Lakin before ban kuchen ban in bay. That what are the crops? Kayaka chum. What are the crops when the African farm? Or not just about crops. Before you talk about crops, please talk about farming. Is
Good.
it only to do with book crops because chum or there's much involved in farming?
Kilabalweli in that farming I did already in Bending. I did. Ngaja defined today. Ngaja low according to capability there. Farming will also involve the rearing of animals. The farming also will involve the planting of crops. Could you allow the part of other winter in the farming? So kilo eventually what we are starting with at first a growing of crops. We are looking at incorporating the apiary kind of bees to the farm. What actually chickens and the few abuka bay along the way. But money is that we want to establish a base whereby they work our own crops, our own culturally appropriate crops, book a chum, book nang that space. Could that space book jala activated it? Think of jaban can ideas jam okay, walk or book learn mine, walk or book learn mine, walk or book and law has it progressed. At the moment now, we are starting at the 3 acres. 3 acres of land is to work money you use like it's a big land. Getting but the money we are having lots of ideas, we make it a little bit smaller. So farming, I did a red in binding a gakai and a lot of things in the farm. And I'm quite cook even Kakuan one beetles. And then beetles Kakuan one by one. We don't mind about them. Kakuan one the cow dung beetles. Cow dung beetles, there's a big market in this country. I get chum, you can actually farm them. I think can buy cow dung beetles by what you spend thousands of dollars. Because why? Agriculture actually are using too much chemicals. So most of the no, most of the community are contributing into the soil, be decompose, but all those actors, they're all gone.
Decomposers, yeah.
And after that one, it's all earthworm. Earthworm one, Kularan le, Chuman one, you will kiradio, Kularan le mai. Kikanaka yatao a chabato. Bila mai chol earthworm. By it, I chum a farm itself.
Kira the oje to my. Any chumrap, I know my hoxa do you know.
Yeah, but yeah, just let's say you mai, right? And then you down at chabato. So what happened here is that one it's a big market itself. Kinda earthworms itself. I got poor buyer. And for you to do farming, you need to buy them. You need to have that worms. Bakatao don't do it. Because they helped to break down the soil. Because soil actually need to be broken down. Because I told too hard, roots of the crops cannot go. Crops can also cannot get nutrients when they're supposed because you can be getting so they have to incorporate the worms, earthworms, because thing. Manaka what to walk by it, we take them for granted. By it and the ritual biodynamic. It's another type of farming. Kukabewo bela tin bade, what is in of biodynamic? Chiman go
let,
kwa
let,
wani, no.
let me interrupt you here. Actually, in here, a very important topic. I'll call you walk. I actually trying to biki kwer biki ke tajir biki loy. You go core like inside there like chin ideas, and you talk about beetles and the earthworms when the cake will. Can we actually export the Buka Bay? I mean, import. Can we import those thing the Buka Bay? Channel because the Buka Bay, we can bring them. The tea to be
Possible.
around with you.
It's just a matter of getting the right license and then you can do it because at the moment there's high demand for it. Because Kilora, the type of the agriculture you use it in for very long time, it's
Mm.
actually when you go like rani mengadi. We're a holistic kind of farming, which is really good for our soil. When I can loan law or loan you can touch, none you chin known to talk, Kaka bigger jot bigger well nim other side whereby no known. Kube known there be regenerate. So it actually becomes kind of like you giving it a rest. You think? Lekin by is that work running to talk. So years and years, they are just in the same environment. You think? And then you are using chemicals on the top. You think?
Um. All right. Then before banning, there's a question, Kitty, about the Mandagawa crops. The big are meeting the demand in the market or big chemicals. Crop ko go chom ache kore chemical kana ba be nyala loko batin, but let walk that crop ya ka chom ye yingo kunengi the African crops nen crops ko on ke yo ko chom de danti ya ka chom ya.
When I started in 2018, and Kicha Chome Okra,
Okay.
Kichol Bamia in Weka, which is our crop. Number two, ya dang work or bujum kudra, برضو وقع بوجم maize وقع بوجم sorghum وقع بوجم cocoa. لكن the other factors Ben is that Victoria طبعا نيجي نرى to Victoria نيجي that there are always 4 seasons in one day.
Mm.
Victoria which been winter Victoria later and some of our crops that do well in a tropical environment cannot actually do well here. So that becomes also a factor. So kaka yuke tabu ke chom damo mjitio ka sama. At the
Mm.
moment now, the 2 summers, watching Anke La Nina. So La Nina tabane kira low in the galaxies. Whereby when
Mm. No,
yena
no, you talk
summer,
here. Mm.
yena summer when yena nang ding kujelanga when La Nina here. So it's something when little explained scientifically. But actually low now for the 2 consecutive years, which is last year and this year. So actually the walk to Louis those African crops the buga grow. That's
Mm.
another. Number two, yes, to meet the demands, what we have to define is that if we have a higher demand, ketaban kang alubu ke chom, getting one of the greenhouses, alubini ketauting. When we started, one of a few orders, kinu call Wagoluke community garden, whereby you can walk in, pick whatever you can pick, kulopando. We don't ask for anything. Yinke kinu call wa yen. Lekin going forward to sustain the project, there will come a time later on, will walk in boxes. And then in those boxes, abuka yatao yungu what African crops in buku tautin, yungu buku tautin, depending on kuchukupur at that time. So what will happen here is that if there's a high demand, we will increase the
Mm.
production. Lakin anong a low demand, we will
Demand
reduce.
now.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So where cheap production cha golte from gulon golin in okra chabe watch chabe ga chiro be watch. What was your
Uh,
assessment then?
no, kilo I produce okra came my own consumption. So
Okay.
I
All
produce
right.
it under a certain organization job series. So in Kalanda, learn in Kalanda Yusu. And I've been looking at establishing my own farms. And a few Janke started, but because of other commitments and financial constraints, ika kiro bellew. Lekin when I started this idea, I wanted to see it through, okay, part of to help the community. Can the community be exposed into getting to know where they can get these crops and also what they can do.
So now, based on that question, Joseph Granding, Did you actually grow okra? To mix kind of chemical because that seemed to be the basis here that they have to be chemicalized to grow in this environment. Did you do that?
No, kito kina chin ngade chana nang kira lo here in this country ever open. Na lo limbia organic producer kaka
Mm,
nang adi yika mix nang criteria yika mix. Na
okay.
ko ben kini conventional farmer kaka nang criteria conventional which mean you mix your production with chemicals. So on gala nen agal on a organic garden, which means that I don't have to use any chemicals because in this country is a land which is certified by the government that is organic. You don't need to use any chemical on that. Now, chemical use anytime you need detected when the soil is tested, well, you're gonna need chemical.
Mm,
Because that land a Louis license, a Louis loss, which means achievable classified organic. Even hawk one and hawk bite which you can feed with well hawk, because they no
mm,
longer become organic. They are no longer classified as organic because I think chemicals. They are considered that they are already toxins. So once now where they no use where when that but use manure, could that
mm.
manure then be from when you feed by medicines when you get out of it, it actually becomes and destroy your license. So Carlo money is that we are doing an organic productions, which means that totally we are not using any elements of chemicals. Kilo Kubet is that we are playing around with the ecosystem, the biological control of the pest. You think? And then like there's a biological control, there's a cultural control, which mechanical. So in case of pests, will actually see what alternative things can we do apart from using the chemicals. And that's what we have been doing. So another thing you better one is that we either because pestaman you can easily predict their environment. It's just like human. And
Mm.
then Lane Sudan one, because I've been there. The Lane Sudan one teach all Jazeera. Jazeera one baby ke lung that okra a chill by chum tina kolnyin ben.
Mm.
A lung.
Why?
Why? Because okra and American bollworm a year trap. Now, American bollworm jiben
Mm.
ke okra can cotton out from the same family.
Now, what
So which
about
means
here in Australia? Does that apply?
no, it doesn't apply. But you use the same knowledge because now
From
eating
like okay.
in term
Mm.
in a law to lay in crop protections. One pest anang polyphagus at all.
Mm.
Polyphagus ngade wen insect when it cham in all the families. And an insect cham in two families. And an insect cham one family.
A
Kia
family
minu
of crops. Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
a family of
Mm.
crops. Because
Mm.
families are brassicas families, kananga, but all those families at all. So ki you look in whatever crops that you are planting, and you can classify into the families. And once you classify into the families, you will identify what insect yenike cham in these two families. And then so what you need to do is that you come up with a mechanism to confuse the pest.
Okay.
So it's just like NATO Wuti, Kukoro Kobuwek attack or whatever it is. And then you try to use a mechanism to confuse Kur. Alabaya dir kan ga tato na bo Kur da ka bu tinga ga dir koike. Kaka chi beben. Lekin aya melga tau ga tuen ka go jor. So that's how it is. So for you to achieve a best productions, a best organic production, you need to
Mm.
use this mechanism. According how you need to study what are the pests and how do you control the pest and how do you confuse the pest, because kitokin ko korba they were confused for at least just say for 3 months. By that time kit your harvest at a low that's the same thing. I did the same research in Juba
Mm.
tut absoluta, the tomato leaf miner. It's a big thing. Actually you are rajab, you go to a ben wako kubuku tomatoes. Nigeria won't pink a jeletian. So if you come to the farm, you cannot actually see the insect. Chana chila tiana, chilo to the nearby bush. So what you need to do is to study it. You need to use pheromones, use other things. Chanbakongi, what type of the pest it is, and then you need to study. Does that pest only eat tomatoes? So, and if you want to grow tomato, the next bush, tomato chibe town next to the bush. Tomato je town in the middle of the farm. You think? So that those are some of the few skills that you can use to actually achieve what you need to do.
Look, I am, the word organic acha la red. Is English term libiko kokwa when kin long agriculture kin gedera chilebi ngi apit. Can you explain it to me? What is that organic?
Okay. Organic actually a part of English word. Cool. Now English word is something that grow naturally. You don't use other
Enhancers.
yes, other thing will be in support in growth or anything. So it has to grow naturally. Even a website
Chit
manager
wani ku chomrap maru paliao by it and
without using
everywhere
chemical
by
to
it.
enhance, without
Uh,
using chemical to enhance the growth, or
yeah.
using other means. Can kito kinanang inorganic and organic. So
Now,
inorganic when our synthetic,
mm,
synthetic chemicals.
synthetic, yeah, kawan yaka low, yaka mate, yeah.
Yes, just to
Mm,
enhance the growth. So now we're going to grow naturally using the natural
mm.
means of growth. Cuman yi cow dungs, cuman yi ngaben, they actually constitute.
Organic.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. To know what
And
happening in this country, we use what we call compost. So we do natural farmyard manure. If you
yeah.
study agriculture on Form 1 and 2, there's that farmyard manure. That is the compost. In this country, it's a big business.
And before we move away from that, because big loom, what is the importance of the organic products? Na lo su ke lo yung piade ke walk, especially
Good.
ko African yung piade can walk here.
Kito organic in health-wise, ever good tiniyin because kena alu grow achin any added substances take out in its growth. Getting because those added substances could look a lot to your body the further react. I like yen 20 I win chilu. Kayen pia that can organic balloon, I go chin, I go further reaction winter I go reduce. Fell and go a chemical that chemically met. Create benetton. So everything react to certain things. The kin ki jalu degree of the reactions. Eka yile jala fell that anti twine or anti yellow. So ka produce inorganically, which is synthetic chemicals, ala nang a further reaction into your body. Ali bigila yen 20 and you can yin. Kukagi ga lawyer taban e nang a greed, I would say human greed. Because chumanacha weka chom, kuweka kaba loy bedo chili within 7 days. Kaka yen go to the chemical go dir. Getting kaka enke ben ke naturally can be bay achieve better. But because encore by meeting the demands. So kaka organic taban they take their time. Time that you are located in the cake, bake dir, in cake dir. Whatever nutrients corke, a you. A cool corke, a you. Everything a you. The king can look produce without the natural means. Kaka ben aika pump. Even their own lighting are improvised. Now, normally to greenhouses, to all those vertical farmings, to laying you just find that improvise the light, ULV light. ULV light you use for photosynthesis to produce their own food. But here we are giving them, we are improvising. So actually they are making their own food through but they don't meet the criteria when you look in organic. Because you in this country, anything organic is expensive. You have to prepare because actually it's because with the current situation talking work now, can ba compose ba horse dung or cow dung or ngaben ba incorporating into by dynamic means they cost you a lot of money. But kini is to ensure that there's an organic production. When you use that, they are more expensive. Kuke are more healthy. The nutrients when your body get.
Now, we're quite the viewers die. Encore, but like a bit of a testimony here. Now, what she Twitch discuss, I relate chan bilwele tong jeng red. Lakin walk te did what in caset and walk on bogo you did about and meet kichi yoko cham. She yanda ye po chicken I meet chini chemical. Kuyen But pure ko bi wo ga chinang 2020 ke yi mi de ke chamba ide, because the content ingredient will kawun chi ke use bi ke well ke bi ke chum ke dir a chelo pya ken yanda kinin ga ina mohem buku organic thing in bi tuj bi luela pet why na very important and then get your a fractant or fractose to a part of the carbohydrate ka won jukun ka duni chol by chemical carbohydrates are ka won man ya nyole cham ku jo la rap yi potatoes and things and then fractant to ko ju aneng mikila ken a fractant so sa da le ben test the gas a level low be gas ken wan be test nongin neng the fructose neng the glucose neng the lactose and also the uh, glucan. So kaka ayeka la test la thing ye which of the carbohydrates in ye you react to. Ku kaka aji no wo ko ka bo te woni ni mi ne ka chom natural ka chi ka chemical. Ene ke important ye wo organic ye wo ye luela pet ye ngo yen mohema. Wo be jala move a bit away from the organic kien ba ti chin tu che kene choke ka ju ja cha galwel when wo ko chi wo jam ye nga workers the workers actually are African when chin the countries cha ke lwel lakin like work da ye is the African United Farm ye venture when a partnership ko ko wala ning ra ne luyen on in jel ko ke that ye tunya jak in the African United Farm. Well, was it just a partnership from those people? So actually, in the owner.
Ian Banyin Jalej, Felon, when we formed the United African Farm and Tokane founder, Kujalati Munchalewe Toke founder. At the moment, our main vision was to empower the African community. Kubuku ya learning more about our culture, which is defined by the agriculture, and also to find the sense of belonging. Chankana work it, we may deny it, totally deny. Lakin we don't feel here. Eroloche woibe lui in this country. Kuwaila nin mar, olo nin paliao, olo nin juba. We don't actually feel naturally that we belong to this country. Kukawa we feel because we don't participate in these nations. And we were trying to use the African farm key means that naturally we are connected to the land, to the soil, and to the waters. Kabuacha we feel at home. Getting walk man a little go you in binding, a research a law, but a little around there, die a gum. Now, down to New Mana, Kuwalo Facebook, Kuluku condemn. Then down here, our MP. Our MPs here are here in Victoria. I can do it. Now, no command, they are supposed to talk about us. We are supposed to talk here. Janeka to Chemku. Because you represent Iran to Yinintin in Kayelwell, not where we identified ourselves to have come from. Yes, what would identify what we brought from South Sudan, but here is where we live. Here is where we want to make better. Here is where we want to live our roots. When you think on jam wall, the one change jam chen ben cheleliono. And I think jam we jalan na lokai pai 200 years later. Ku obro ra PGD kara jurichol South Sudan I been in this country. Yungu ye nyu keto. Italians, Greek, and the rest actually integrate, and they're still migrating. Ran came one little ben kulwe wala na bo 30 days ago. But lon there when it took you 5 years, can balo to that position. And about you ran a bit ben, now 1 year, 2 years, okay manager. Getting so is that we want actually to forge that kind of feeling, that sense of belonging, that will belong here. Kunaiku belong here, we have to show our presence. So that was the major things. So United African Farm, our community, a community-led, war watching when in non-for-profit organizations, which mean whatever produce benbay, whatever proceeds you can dump, actually to any individuals. Actually, I want to get terror. Actually, I'll do back to the farm. Kakor buku loy is we want to grow the crops, culturally appropriate crops, and we also need to tell our story, our cultural story. Chiman woman wo jam looking at culture jing, but how will Kawaja know culture jing? na la mo kawaja le luwe kina wala che kada. You need to teach that kawaja. You need to teach any other African that yin is this. Kini ya mo yin era an rioje kina kwera rioje kina kwe kina take kwe kina loyal inke mo yin. But if we keep it to ourselves, kuwa ja luitene visually, kuwa la nini South Sudan visually, at the end of the day, ka watch la don't watch in a country. Even if you go to South Sudan now, ki yini kurchin $100, ko chila wanangike, and they keep asking you, ina kurchin manje ben panda. But no, you have a foreign passport.
Passport, yeah.
To forge our identity and stability, buku nang a sense of belonging, inga yin. So what we are trying to achieve here in Bandeng is that sense of belonging. Once we own the land, African farm achieve a code only on that 3 acres. We are going to expand. We are looking at bringing in new programs and new ideas. Boom, Lord. And I quite be talk. Chiman Banawatus man I been every season. I been Louis. Rani chu jan bai Banawatu Australian government bay. Kubuku Louis 6 months. Nani okay here. Who can only be a koi? Why can't we do the same thing? Nairan Mar or Ranjal Juba. Buku Louis Australia for 6 months. Could could Dubai mia. A kiki check. These are some of the few things ideas the bigger benefit. But Kinoko one is that how do we book space, book now it's been now in the calendar. If you go to Google now, we got United African Farm, you space already. Achinang attention, achinang a statement, achinang loike. So you move ya Ben man got your teeth. What is the next program? I think so. We get to talk in binding. The membership adi Timon channel one of Australians, one of Indians, one of everybody is working. One few other children will work or a working group. The working group big band working group one are forming from a different cohorts of the people. Kulon chik loy mane, it's really a great work. It's really an amazing work. I think so. Kaga loro in binding. So we need a buy-in. We need people to come out, bring kids, youth cake. You know, it's quite naman yan PhD series. You know, people, children asking me. You know, they don't know whether tomato yechong. You know, we don't want to raise young generation could that even tomato me loadi, not just a tomato mela or Woolworth. We need to know each omedi that but Jack or Woolworth.
Now, in Jamret Bantuch, the sense of belonging, which I emphasize, and in integration, which Alueliana Buka integrate here, but is there any other benefit that you from feeling that we belong to this country? Is there any other in addition to integrate into the system? Any other teacher le buku yo chan buku rut gam ko ko ke pan.
But then ever nice questions. Kito, even motivation speakers I jam correct accept. Believe in yourself. Your show we believe in you. So Kito Kin, for us to believe that we belong to this country, it will gain a lot of advantages. You feel it.
Maybe we take a break at this point and then. Nengran che goron garangong where the farm is. The farm ato in Victoria, ato Melbourne, ato I think a part of the Kadina Wallet Cape. In
to talk farm thinking at of Pakenham, Kukato to Chol Kadina Road. So now about Kadina Road, you get off Wentz Road. Kikabil led to Fowler Road, so that's where you get the farm. So it's in area of the southeast. It's on Cardinia.
Now, Jalewok, one of the important benefits in addition to integration and also Bugunang organic food. What else?
Good. The benefit about UK African farm or general integration?
I'm talking about the belonging, the sense of belonging. What is it that the sense of, if we feel belong to Australia, what how do we benefit from it?
Thank you. That's a great question. It's the same thing, human alum citizenship Australia. You pledge to be the citizen of Australia. And then you get benefit keen citizen. The same thing now you really belong here because to yin ya belonging get to yin 18. To
Exactly.
yin ya belonging get to yin pure to thing. Once yin pure to thing which I have settled, the rest of the thing comes. I tell what thing many Indians who you most of them are Indian homes. Ku Indian I don't ben. Let me not talk of Afghanistan. Afghanistan, I your latest migration one theo. Lakin bought hundreds years ago. Camel chikon one man in the bushes. You look a wild camel. Aka be in. Actually have belonging here. So Nachaya belonging here in Baiding, you feel that in citizen by it, you feel like in a right to do anything you want to do. Ka won't be in there to alabaka established. Tinakoi woman pure at South Sudan. Chin ku chok lot in the loy, ku chin la lui at you feel like everything we do now is actually chicken ku mer. I think ero loy chicken and everything man pure entity. Achira is a good thing, but the thing is the generation but the achieve now the same experience chi yin. Chi man man ku teach man about my experience. Ke mara la bagalwel, my experience ke ranga la bagalwel, my experience ke juba la bagalwel. Lekin man dia achin those experience. So tinenke the thing. This is inge pandan, inge their first home. Kubi South Sudan jaba benke their second home. Ku South Sudan being it through me. Na lu el kachin ke leke about South Sudan, ke kaching it. So to feel the sense of belonging is that we need to grasp at every opportunity, Ben. What you doing? Wait, can you look okay? Can look man is more about the emergency response, is more about achira, bako kun buy baka coin. Lekin you mood dungan. What history are you living here? Can you sense of belonging ka ye bay? A sense of banang a peace of mind, a sense when in your thinking, you will below kin launum, kin man the buy. Getting so Kiniga you could try book restored because you come and what you been Marati. I am very sure wood Cheng South Sudanese cake man are more beautiful than wood Cheng Kawajar cake or Cheng Indian cake. But you can nint that's another question. Are their mind and thoughts are they in that homes? Krijbenato in Africa. Now Laura on Facebook is all about South Sudan. South Sudan. You are not actually living a life. You are living a life in limbo because you are in between the two countries. I walk like a corny book of child man with no country. Because partly we are Australian, partly we are South Sudanese. So where do we belong? And where do we want to establish our roots? Try to restore. So once we start producing the African crops, we start talking about our cultures. We are trying to create that sense of identity. Yuku yinga, yung yuku cham, yuku yuru riodi, ku culture that I yingo. And we don't if we don't have that opportunity, bugu luel, kika lera and ngale tiong ikalun dede. Kulelwel koka dado, ayile ko kayile. Kwangi ko Victoria Piet about the media, yung media luel, na nyan cho Peter Credlin, anang kadan chi luel last year. Angi ko Victoria. Wana chi bear apologizing. Chi jamola South Sudanese dado, most of them are Muslim. Kuhan leke tulke Ramadan, inga cheke coronavirus spread. Aku is that South Sudanese. Bear Roma can say that, trying to justify that are Christians.
Did she apologize?
Yeah, she came and apologized 18 months later.
She did, but the thing is, what because I understand here, Kayaga designed political will with the intention being damage, the damage being inflicted. Kunala Barenki Jobe Jami apologize, but that damage actually cannot be recovered. So in the court, because the apology does not help.
Yep.
But I know with the intention, Benny Koryok, Kujo the word apology job, but that damage is cheaper do change. So the image still.
But the question is, why us? Why us? Why not Indians? Why not other community? Why us? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. What are we not doing right? Indian man Biden, they are part of the chambers of commerce, Biden, and businesses. So okay, Indian community man ka kuma da ber ka that lekin walk man chaw do pin ngori man watching a lot watching a loidi nobody will listen to us because we don't own anything. We're still
Pu-
squatters.
ba- and before what would do chen book political matters, but
Yeah.
ki any car ba le ko tina ki e ki chen ko ja feel belong en ka ko cha ngong bai de na because a yilwel yung an ken loy ko na bijal yung a go ro ko bijal yung an dom pur ko bijal yung an business ya liu ba de ko bijal e ken en ka ko ngong lakin kidun ya kudu ba ci man the United African Farm it is now kar yitu nya jacken tingun ya lwel ku jola team de lu ken ke whether jel ke ye wala ci jel abiya ka den because long atawde na ci man juba na cha won wan ga logrande latin ku ka ci bi yom ya cha na ci long to la ki long kan ko so dun rage cha ni lo ci belong sense of belonging is actually a mental it's a mental thing that nanga cha tao nam di keke na being direct being kaga pir ba keglo if you feel belong so ken en ga ke wo ja more about the sense of belonging in ga yetu je lwel ko nga nen chol ka tie because without that ka wo ga chin ga lo ko wo bu ko to and I'm approaching 20 years and I don't know ko a lot more than that but among these people chinang run juige other than Iran in Australia I chin anything to show you know so ken en ga ke lwel ku so ka ko ga sia da yin tu jabu ko yo ke jaru ke let's go back to the African farm now to me you chicken ngi di lo African the United African farm especially long integration long a culture does chick ning the chen appeals to the system by the number support you were supported by the government here since you were a part of what the government should do.
Kito in ban deng a good question. Taban ba it ne achin idea right, and that's what I have to tell people. Achin idea right. E jeng le on le jar bit ja jeng. Uh, on gol wa yen one nga kunim ko ka keto. Na one of the food network it all sustain. Yen ka kon ya negotiating more yen a land, small land. In ka gol wa yen. So I one of the great supporters. Na naku paikero ke kanang another foundations e kana ran de rich kwet ku kai achi kurbu quarries beke yi. So anywhere when nang quarry on yene adi kade bebe pin a year un ben ko kala yiga I again is it. So everywhere non quarry chinga de elo yi school kulo mobilize jingulo ngo. Kiti confirm that the thin out of that area tiaga quarry go ben be domi achi to te ran le kinan ko to in his foundation boku leyen ku le yung yak loy go le ku lo cooking we are planting a cultural appropriate crops ku wanan kan go kon yen 20,000 ku le we check support 20,000 be we la wo chi cho rotary hall tong dan jeng tractor na tractor tine we wo la wo na je loku twen taban ki story aga ke in binding bait ne in kor ba ya cautious ko story do la balwe ku lo rande lo le story de reta ku ja che ke ku duel wel ku ke ra tir ka wel so ke chira lo anang rane chi wo yen dom anang go ka ke nang ka ken ke chien ke dom de a chira ni yelote nang ka ken ke chilo music ku jala ka jwe so na jelo boku ku boku re story de tar ku le ya african dadu a cha ke yen len ana ran pet im ye ken wo wa kuma go
Okay.
kula ting ya go le no ako ko luna lwel kedum ku kene ke da wo kor bu ko mat yin chu le yin chu cha mer and chi nang people from Africa and chi nang ko nang ko from east ko from south ko from north ran be de chi mat so yin yin chu le yin chu mat lekin what chi be lu continue yin go ku lenti go ku ngade go cancel ku jogo read for 2 years in pending ko read for 2 years I want you one of the farmers he cheating because chilo SBS chilo in the news ke lui work approach ku le program no wana lo ka mi ara re ba lo ke dom dia go okay yele wara anti achi wo yen 1 acre we ba yen 3 acres go ko ngade go tan so chu ku tan mane for I would say arun ke tier ku di but abijala renew every 3 years nga be na renew na non ka chi wa ke ka je to ya kene ka chen wan che wo be go ku ja lui pop jo ko dang jo publicize council to kan wo in a lui antin it's supportive yeah dengan nang ko chi ben nang dina chu ko pie loy wan 2 weeks ago a chen was some few money a chu ko raised in that dinner anang ko chi choi no mo en ka waja deng ran der pie dare alo we you agere google ba ku le community farm near me go da go ben be ga to pie the media go ga da go ben yal United African Farm ke ye mit ke dara chi tie nya Nigerian go le ma ke ni go wa yen one
What dia. Yeah.
in 1,500 ku lui barenda no nom solar they are lui donated kichir 8 meters by 5 so a book constructed in the farm think one of the people here donating I think watch here winning getting another grant from Australian Post it been wa huge bus ke bus akin be ben ke priority ke ben ke priority now every pin before of which all those funds are book use been wa garang loy am to ke farm coordinator I think so that's the support to you kini algo already is that ka jui ko ni wo ke ko jui ran ga ke ngade le bu fomu can be ku go car kilo grand core keda a grand ake wo you we don't run after them they run after us why because one a valid one a solid ideas yungu bugu loy ku one a vision yungu bugu loy so ko when I mention ben a ko wo you but there will come a time later on they will car after the grant the king ko base ko foundations be are strong be are area when na lao yum sibit kin bi mendo tin wo bi chomi sorghum wo bi chomi maize wo bi lok wala won tin wan ba bu yi to symbolize the African so na lao ba mendo na e video do nan pur ngane en tur ku le en bla der ku ngaben ba no go to shoot in the farm na e wedding ba come and do it in the farm
so wala bugula nyaba nyol dom du logo koi
yes
or okay now lot to
so kaka beke chom you can come anytime even a team building chimana in your own office and balwel wo wala bu nang a team building exercise in the farm ku bu nyoike ti kir go ndan wan bai ku nyoke ku lo do lo the farm is there the produce are there na korba wo chimana lo decide in Victoria ku lo and we are jam ka woni ka puro dom African farm you sign up with us we deliver to you so we are creating opportunities we are creating employment we are because Rambia to Rambi school I received because I learn about drummings because I learn about African culture because culture da it rotate about 4 things a birth ku initiation ku marriage ku death we need to define them na chi chonga yung ni charin ke and all of that na chi ra kiyimbiango yung ba wan ku yung ba ler ku yung ba loy na cha tie what is your responsibility yung ngade wan ba ra cha tie ye ngulo na cha to kimbi tiodi yung ba wan ku all of those things that's how do we tell people we need to create an environment whereby they work on you kuran be those stories are lue abanan ka tini you abia chira na lui and this is what we need to create we also need to create that akobdado a dish with South Sudan because the liberation a little bit job
so Alabanan cafe in the farm
yes.
Then you can get that now how do we support you work like South Sudanese there or Yen or maybe Tui what how
good that's a good question kitokin kwanya juji yin by den ku kininga karban ku ga niara nen this show can be ko you work ko want to be it in event every South Sudanese anan kloy ran be committed ka ken loy ke ku ka piet buru support can buru succeed in this country buru support kun benen konkin first of all na nong the bon nong loy at the farm ku lawe just check on Facebook ngade bugu taw loy Facebook da loy like ngade bakaya yo updates yung lorat ci god the United African Farm na ko lui ko no ngin working bee kin ba ka toria du ba ka mendu ba ka tingdu ba ka ran ba kon ko that's one way. Another way is that one ka jui ko will wendu ku bay ku work one ngade hospice da nang DGR wendu le lo claim lekin na ko you work you have helped the great cause because ku lo ku taban going forward by then achi bu ni mar ba lekin bu ba bu ko ni di ci man aja lu le na nang ma shi ler ba panda ka cha le ba ja jor tul hundia ale ba jor ke tan tok United African Farm ku ler panda la so this is a great cause ale ba na ka kon ke na no undun to undun ba to man ku ba yo ba de ne the man tax ki yen work our account number at all on our page. That's another way le bin work on. Number 2 ayu ku le wan ter ko cool ake ga lerot achirani ka gor akoko da chu le yin an ping cha le yin ko le acha ping lo le madu lo le rande ku cho wo cho kon ke akoko da chu le yin so by telling our story ya dangin ko wo the tokine the one and two important dates now be can note date 30 ye pena after Christmas ku wona nge walking bee yile ba ben bo ko wo the theo in southeast. Yeah, no, and I get all the way from the west, and I change the Chocalan Springs, and I get all the way by Long Worry. It's a distance of 2.5. No video cha jang de chiang ko cover on. Chaka the you and I ben ken pandia. When get chang one ma rock I ben den pandi. It's a long drive, but a commitment. You live a bend 30 book on walk. Day 12 of February, one and a launching. Launching can have been walk now dear. Every type of dance, whether from whatever part of African country, abadi riya kola, loy book kuba, come on the 12th, come and support us during the launching. These are the areas yang kayo leben tui ben kaya point. These are the initiative lorud Biden, akeka lorud Biden, ache kaun lorud Africa. You can help here. Kubuku ja translate deep Africa, and buku ja loy together. So kene in kayan this show yan niar rin by ding ku buku kana buku ya pledging that bu work coin at this point we shukran.
All right, so we could die and into I think into image the farm do a thing ten we could die kin ga che something lo ga ku bro lo ya ku lo so we tractor chak thing to a put them you to ya to ten. I want to ask you something about let me just bring it on the screen. Ku buku ya move on to the last question. Ku be sure that Ben. So what was going on there, Twitch?
Okay. Kilo ratana in by ding acha lewo na one of the organization ko you work that man goal wo sustain. Akichia in a way that we can contribute into helping our cause. Go could dinner go could organize for us. So kin lorot and I fundraising dinner. Kin we organize bene initiative that United African Farm ben yes supported. So kachuga ben you on 10 I will pay the red. Kukake coin walk in tractor ting the alwin. Ake tractor ake layer inside. So what you got already bipping bupur. So most likely on Thursday at day 30 ku wo crops abu ke chom kuna chu crops chu ke chom ke launching abu jalo ke chir at the 12th of February next year.
Hey, and well, a chatting we call Kwandai. It looks very much that I can down to thin ten, I can down to except Twitch. Coi qua, kin coi qua kin ping bên Twitch will coi qua dài cái tiếng chỉ cái chừng cái điện đầu tiên.
Kito in binding kwa kwa chaka gak tawan because kini initiative born out of the passion kumane to kor kwa kichi jaben to kor kwa ngabana pledging tin we kwa na lao kin ba ila by a member. You can register ku you member da. Work at the woman positions be ben kaki board ku jala ko ka be ben. Na nong skill dun dogon yin ku korba wo coin. Ki you can apply. Kito ekda kuna ekda ka korku buku ya participating fully buku chulatin. Cuma mun chan jam ta da biya cultural ko agriculture ka pia da dang buku mit buku pio mit ko chuga bi chadit to win kuike what is the backbone of the economy to kuike production yango ku yung yara loy kini adang option ten ko we will partner can other people nano mit gun chia disengage ka biya ben ten wo ran le blon de yo ran le nge lui nge le nang option in life ko Biden ku chi die ti no ran ku kin that system kilo kan yin kin another option sato na la ga chele ben ke option ten men du kan yale a chi li ke men du lo ben ku ka le bu receive na ko lo ka le bu ko lo na ko be whatever is skilled entrepreneur ka le bu ko so this is the right time we ko lawyer contacted Facebook dia and chito Facebook at the moment but number dia abedeng a little bit share by then or log to our page to go the United African Farm ilabalatin and then send a message kuyin ba added your email ba added chana go updates ago ke kayo yung lora the farm ku baya ben yadang bangade because starting from today kiman wumia do an chariya farming yen ke chang wan the yadang na to and a few things like okay at the farm at the moment chan buku gol kachiri irrigations are luik established ku on Monday we nang a plowing brolo a deep plowing brolo on Monday and then on the 30th ka be wa janang chumin ben ko jachom and then on the 12th of Feb inga be nang a launching and then after launching any other day ku nong pure ben you're welcome so that's the address then about you on our page just go to our page you will find the address and then come let's have a chat e pan pia the rate lao it didn't ben you are leave that in land boku nyoji kursi gato just sit down and chat ku nong fun I think we'll be looking at incorporating later on toward down the line. Wabanang yi apiary, wabanang animals book bay, wabanang kokala book bay. So kakala baking adi.
Ayen, now the last question here, ko ba luel briefly ko ba wadu na karba luel yin ji jamon weneng DGR nang ko ping DGR chi politicized nang sa chi were injected into political. So all birande la ping chi nang activation of Qatar, like this is quite a different thing. So DGR lum ke something new. Other than because I invest through a DGR in Bantuj, any other commercialized investment, I'm saying nang 5,000 or 10,000. Kulwela kabaga le baga invested to do na real ga do ke 10 or 5,000 plus. Is that ning opportunity chicken at all?
Chukuran Bandeng, at the moment, a chito, but it's something that we'll be looking at down the road because Taban farm alo kuka community. Generally, the main basis of it, agriculture da buku restored, kubuku pur danwan to uwa pur by bunang culturally appropriate foods. Commercial part of it, at the moment, a kingu benke agenda, but Kibraloin by ding Taban down the road, Chinwanang opportunities opening up, Kikakalabuka discuss Kukalabuto. Lakin Kitomani is that one an auspicer in choice sustain anang a DGR status. So na no one do kubay kakatao through sustain kuyini receipt. Na law the man text ben ya kin dugundu chien kinin kato at the moment. Lakin kuwun bin wundu bella welcome akaburu low down the line because kuko abu low is that farm down 21 working down festivals ke UK low what you get 3 harvest festivals at UK low we'll be looking at that in harvest festivals ku toyiran we business to low ku korba ku ben tit tarbegano kim bu yen opportunity imbu yen opportunity ku buka loy so kaka atom anake liu lekin ko wen kaka angot lekin ale ke ben ya kaka chi raja deng le bangot ke le the public to win le ben ye loy.
So all anything the South Sudanese nang pure the cafe the below you go meet the highway. All the low now go koi lui domingo kaya go jiten.
It's possible because what we are trying to do now in Deng, even lebu lu ni alwel ke ko le jeng, ku te ku internet yen ku le ran ko ba culture jeng, kor be date, ki yin ba ki ne ko le jeng. Ko le ben wati yo le yin ting na yitara ku wal yitara wala ki tal ko du ku ba abu ben wat ku ka ja blue register. So cooler le nak den yutin kunong profit in law to the farm too. So kaka beto abu ya lo yoma ku yoma ku yoma. These are some of the few things that we are looking at. Because the main ultimate goal e buku culture da buku la kara wo you kongo. Because ran a little bit dull to kuyeni. We need to be understood. You go kongo yung you could take. Cuma one example, lima mit ko mane yin by de gulo met sukuli. Kujiam kene usas kenyin gorbi. Tinilunga kawaja e nyo that man nang a late development. I think era you chiki ngon me the kindir. Kutino walk na you ke rio. Kara buku la kawaja na that kadani in our culture rio. Lekin tene ke ga you man nang a late development issues. I think chan kawaja e wonyin. Na jam ke ye la de madurnyin. Lekin tene warandi de che wonyin. Yini nyin gorbin. Cheti so ka chirka ke buku lwel na kwet no ben walk lwel din. We need somewhere we can sit. Ago ya le ko lwen riyo pa anda e loile met era di riyo la met e yele ci man mit ko man met la yu mit ke dia ke wana cha to wan ba e lo yi cha to won wul e ka cha da ci man ay la cha man cho la rok cha garang cha nga lo ku cha tene ka wajan lo ke gang. So how are we going to unpack all this? These are all misunderstanding, a cultural misunderstanding, and this is the ultimate goal. So kubuku ultimate goal buku loidi kubuku this project buku sustain it ikene ngai wa jam lo yes kaka abito lekin we will be looking at sustaining the project because project by it a core sustainability kuka chi core batao government chin because government sometimes we get the akuma aya kuma ka core buka loy to ni ga core
Anang chuk string.
anan chu street lekin che ya free lekin aya community funded ke community le baka loy because this will be our visibility. I will always that there was a Dinka man or a South Sudanese chicken in Kachan African. This is a visibility. This is where people will understand our culture. This is where people will understand that okra is important in our meal. In Kachan Koga are important and then are you in our meal. Now Kirambe cham okra for quite a while. I'm missing home. I think Alabuka incorporate. Yeah, well, wala in Kenya Karatui. It's part of our culture. Then we need to be proud of it. It's something that a craft you created. I think it's something we know identity that. Now you could diar ko lair outing, you could lair be like chami pasta, queen Italian. You would walk lair people like Jamala.
Look, in the last chance being jam lakin, if you were to take the United African Farm, you take it like your luggage, yeah? Put on your head, Kubalar, South Sudan. I reckon what happened to know in it.
That's a good question, Inding. Kito, Achin ya lair deto. Walk at them where United African Farmer can we are supporting farmers in Rwanda. And farmers chi mad, Kukai ben from villages, Kukai ben and war one who work or support. So we are helping them. Are you mentored? Kukai chuka yen will. Later they buy. Kaban, na farmers to in South Sudan, Kuleran one a community farm because the community by then is something very important. Kuwai African, you could learn that it takes a whole village to raise a child. It needs a collective effort, Rana Ben and Bugulu together. Now, in United African Farm, but we're by. First of all, ever called to buy became power through this. Can I get you good? When chi, looking good call long tea, a jello coin. Inga chira SPLM ki wan chu bebe ko lom lekin SPLM wan a vehicle whereby ben ever county every state brola develop it lekin chila ku mer nom lo ke juba yin ka below lekin wan ga we take time to the people in the same thing with the United African Farm in ke vehicle when bu ko be empower buku purudi chima na ya jam tene ka na nge farm ku ya jalmia ku lo la nyi juba ku lo we ko yu che we tene pur yung yila riri pa nga queen chipur, why are you not producing? Because land anti bandeng a land one yende na chol non ku chil kay you warno ay you warno mila ba cha non tarpi a very fertile land bai to ku le ko ko ya dia yin da le yung lo ga what are you doing to that yin ka no yin ka area ku to ku lui decompose ku lui rot incorporate into the soil ni ka be be dir what are we doing to that? So kene ka buku use ke vehicle. We don't know in the future bay. Na non ko biya ben mi ben alu costs ten walk, non ko biya ben alu ku Dubai or ngubro da lo ka ku biya ting toward the future. Lekin we are looking forward into empowering. Buku ko buku empowered ku buku ten buku use ke a safe place whereby ben work cultures ko buku lo ku buku ko buku. This is the opportunity. I think can badene achieve ba ngadi lekin mane this is the opportunity agriculture chi dir banden wan ter wan agriculture dani lu nga chilo domi lo le por mane chi jaga technology chi ja benten ana der cho biodynamic go kon wan ni cho to bai tunwen bai tene ay tio for 6 months ay yeni wer wen go for 6 months kuna lo bebe mia ke that chemical ay dum ka tine e won te ko ga e ngai la liap ku pio ko ngade ku te nge manure you don't need chemical chamedir. There's a lot here in agriculture, but Lord, I think this is an opportunity whereby Chile be quite long, a court book supported, Queen of Boko la coin. Now you found out a tree of a lum can more tree, can vehicle who support be war you up in the bed, co community. Kubuku well, how do we use this? Because one quilangade, which mean watching a route here. I think a cheer right book on coin, lekin we need to have a route. Kun ben walk and now a constant income, a constant ideas, a constant empowerment, a constant big top. Getting so kuka bijalo, ko jalu land to the United African Farm, you will support below, you will support below. In Gachi Rwanda and Chikiting, Kuka wake badging adinian. In Kitchen Liberia. Liberia man apur. Now Loman through that page, Kalaka you, I can I kick it out. I could then that United African Farm. Akaden Loy. Other people are also copying from here. It's an initiative. What you band together, why African? One loy can. This is where we understand ourselves. Cultures can Nigeria cultures are through this. So this is a way that we work rungi why African. Buku culture da buku ting di buku le ko. So I think in by the na jaren ke ba ko power by ku ba ko power by initiatives to there big supported. Ti man ka ju authority ana ko ju ci do kwen ana ka ju le ke we will liaise with them kun buti yengu kor ka ye skills ye machineries yengu ka lu bu ti ku bu ka ja bena lu le dit na bi jara londa.
Ayen, show that you doing a few minutes, could be talk a few minutes ka about yenin ba your last word, but well, kaba leko kena chen me talk the we will still come back, kubuku be jam. Laki now in bany, wobe yimbuku yen the last chance, 3-4 minutes, you've been word but well.
Ayen ban deng in challenge for the opportunity. In challenge for giving me this opportunity can bakoy ko le what is the available programs. Kebal kon banyan is that ko ju ko na ka ju lo ke ku we cha ke le we ko un lu in a different ngay yen mi de ye bible le le ngay ki yen ke den be loy ki yen ya tinge ni nen ana ka ju le ke loy na ye lan cái dòng tin cái luyện đó là bị cái uốn nó lekin ti ating to my passion tin farming ku ka chi aja jaben go Australia and I quit farming in Rang my first farm in Rang I 2011 and I put a tongue fee and then I came to Juba. I have my own organizations. It's all Haro Pest and Plant Protection. You can find it on Facebook. And I know Dukanti it's all Sharatumra. So I had agricultural chemicals and I do trainings and I agricultural clinic. Agricultural clinic tawan level equipping a plant clinic. A year out ben can ngada den won chi twine ye ngo ka bi. Ku buku lui ku ngade ku tingu ku lel ku kara kana adila komien chamen or adila kana ku loku domran ku loku say ku yin ku a good advice kabela loy. I used to do that in 2014, Panichol Juba. I came to Australia in 2015. ku still ya den and chatem but through agricultural system by it chatem red I did a bit until we volunteer until ngolo until I came up with this idea we ko is support the kunto appear the red than kabla gol angi ko ju red anang good ideas ko ju yananga ga chi ke loy lakini kana era lo chi ke dia mana bara che ke dia e ke duan e ke community e ke duan be we culture squad be we ka practice e ke won bin met bina nyot kara lwak yi diwan bai ke chol weka ye chomedi because mi man mi di man tana aku tamati be chomno this is an opportunity to we get them ko den an opportunity but Louis understand ko banang a sense of belonging can Biden taban wala bu nang 20 to 30 years Biden ku wo ra marari ku wo ku yung lorat ku bukula no walk in the actual market walk in pinya kin ko ngadi anan ka waja ben man yo no pande town ku kana no pande in rural community looking through agriculture ga yingi kara banang rural home no ko banang land no once you belong here that's when you start to belong here so kene ka lewe we ko a che ke dia tok e ke don this is the idea don ku kene ka be we can support ba can support ko won cha ke luen you join you become a member ku yi ben through working bees bu ke lo na no financial support ke ka chira ya dem ko na ka ju lu ka lak watching tractor watching ko ben though other communities a chi ka kana chi ke bank other communities a chi nge lu ya pet they are contributing what you bu dong ro a chu ko bu ja dong ala ke ken ko ko ku wo lu tin this is ours ku ko bu to tin so ken lu en we encourage we ko ku na pin ke mana ke we lu ko join sign up now day 31 ang working bee and then day 12 of February we benang launching so launching a website at launch when a farm launch na ba ke kul ranga ka bedir na kor mnanga kun ngaji ke kin yo wen yin ba yene table kun go ku tiet you could do rai you could do good you could do ngu abatiet yin nang freedom at that day kun go ku tiet ku ba ku highway on the same time kagal bo ke lo any other activity look at the farm ile ba ben na chuku website da lo mia ka kwan chuka pura buga ta website na to how these ku tio ke le ba go yu ku le en kor we ka don ko we ka ise bine bela goj ke we ka unche organic bine bela goj gon mun yin ke la goj tin ke ka lu go supply tin yin ye kudra lu go supply tin yin whatever do nun korben just let us know we'll always find a way buku ngadi ku in ga bia connection kudun korben ga bia connections so we will try to establish those connections ku ka ka baka token work ku we cha ke le
Ayen tunya jang manyok in chukule jaret my friend and brother show jalo ya piet ku ka chi ko chi ping your audience are ke lo 20 something they could do ping but I believe the video a bit on the Facebook ku ka bit on YouTube as well so na iran in Facebook ku access to YouTube kim lo DB empowering on the YouTube ku yim that video bangor ko la yo ko bangor ko yok Facebook iran and Facebook biar garang malay brother na ye bayin bay screen yin ken I should do a 5 minute ko angela lot lo wan we get 25 minutes kala lui I believe show ko abya kala twen so yil buku yin accommodate my number in BR record book jam telephone because you will call me later night telephone my telephone number is 0400211966 0400211966 and then number di kain biar garang or nagara and messenger ka chawdai do nom today because on Facebook I my access to Facebook on the mobile phone I check a lock because I got learning around I log onto my account could that verification a kiro lewe chatem ko kiro lo so I got because I sort it out so kwale bango ri yolo ko an ngot ka accessing Facebook on the computer alo ba log on the chala duora le bala lo to lawyer too keninga kelwel we chakale we coach dai kasten ran chi show lo cho tunya jakin chukule je ka chakale wok we coach yen ping tuja to near Dandenong to gre chol Kadina lakini nga lor Facebook ku loy the United African Farm loy search ka bin yen address ku yimbe lo address kana bin la to farm tin or telephone tweet abato okay part of the comment so you can call him ku bi jale more about to farm tin uh, ke ba jo chal akar na ye this Friday be ben ko nang show ke especially for tree nan kaga tribu ka discuss especially tiai chen tui chen tiai ko yung a consequence when a tree ya remain ga tiai ken abu ko discuss yung jimo ko kan panel be and discuss panel gana atau ko jutin atau bang youth garang atemayik rong garang dut dun James Garang kuonang our brother Duot Manyang kujala mother and a sister chul garang agwer kabe a panel of 5 people ke koike benang show on Friday ko bigalo ding bull empowering ko chet tweet to iran da koroben yilba ben ba betting yung wel tree so it's a brainstorming so iran bedai kuning dun batti ko batti ku wedo bu bear in that forum tuy na jagwa jal ke yen we chakale jaret thank you so much baga jala chula piet baga la dai show ko benang another show bu ben pe kinin soon ti den ko para chen bin yoran abran ko ran bi ran akinin ge kulwel thank you we chakale jaret biar garang sorry yila bayan chola number dienon ku ba ke kor bu kulwel ba ping ku yila ba yinai ka bule screen yin gi mangot ki in bay thank you very much thank you bakanang good day we chakale nyalik ken we bye